I gave him 6 years of my life, and he spent them raising another woman's child. The day I finally walked away was the first time he ever asked me to stay. The hospital director studied my transfer request for a long moment, his pen hovering above the signature line. "Emily," he said, frowning slightly, "you've already built a future here. If you leave now, you're starting over from nothing." I stood across from his desk, fingers tightening just a little, but my voice didn't waver. "I need a change." He searched my face, as if expecting hesitation, doubt, anything he could use to stop me. He found none. In the end, he signed it and slid the paper back to me. "I hope you don't regret this." I took it. "Thank you." But this wasn't impulsive. This was clarity, 6 years of it, finally breaking through. The hallway outside was unnaturally quiet. The fluorescent lights cast a pale, cold glow across the floor as I walked at the corner. I stopped. Daniel Walker was standing there. Perfect suit. Sharp profile. That same distant authority he always carried, like a man who belonged above everyone else. But this time, he wasn't alone. A woman stood beside him. Lily, soft dress, gentle smile, completely at ease, like she had always belonged there, close enough to him that it wasn't accidental. And next to them a child, 5, maybe 6 years old. Clean, bright-eyed, clinging to Daniel with quiet dependence. Then the boy tugged on his sleeve and looked up. "Dad." The word hit like a physical blow. Everything inside me froze. The world went silent except for the ringing in my ears. I waited for Daniel to deny it, to explain. He didn't. He simply bent down and picked the child up effortlessly, naturally, like he had done it 1,000 times. His expression softened. That was when I understood. It wasn't that he didn't know how to love. It was that I had never been the one he chose. My throat tightened, but I forced it down, smoothed every crack in my expression until nothing remained but distance. I walked toward him. "Mr. Walker," I said calmly. "Long time no see." He stiffened, a flicker of irritation crossing his face like he didn't recognize this version of me. But he didn't correct me, because to everyone else, that's exactly who he was, not my husband. Just Mr. Walker. He opened his mouth, maybe to speak, but I didn't give him the chance. I stepped past him and pressed the elevator button. The doors closed slowly, sealing the 3 of them on the other side, like a world that had never belonged to me. That night, I stood outside the apartment door for a long time before going in. When it shut behind me, the silence felt suffocating. The place was large, immaculate, empty. I opened the closet and began taking down my clothes, one by one, folding them, packing them. The repetition steadied me. 6 years ago, I moved in with hope. I thought it was a home. Now I knew better. The medical books on the shelf, countless sleepless nights. The dining table almost always set for 1. The bedroom light left on until late, waiting for someone who rarely came back. All the details I had ignored now stood out with painful clarity. This marriage had never been whole. At the very end, I found our wedding photo. I was smiling bright, certain. Daniel stood beside me, composed, detached, like he was completing an obligation. Back then, I thought it was maturity. Now I knew it was indifference. My fingers brushed the glass. I hesitated. Then I packed it away. Not out of attachment, but because even a failed story deserved an ending. The door opened. He was home. Daniel walked in, loosening his tie like any other day. His gaze paused briefly on the suitcase. "Where are you going?" he asked, calm, casual, like this was routine. I looked at him and felt something close to disbelief. 6 years, and he had never really known me. Instead of answering, I asked, "Why did you bring her here?" The air shifted instantly. His eyes sharpened. No guilt. Not even a trace. It's convenient, he said. If you can live here, so can she. Just like that. As if I were the one out of place. Something inside me snapped quietly. Completely. I nodded. Let's get a divorce. He frowned. No. I waited for a real reason. It's not what my grandmother wants, he added. Not that he didn't want it. Just that someone else didn't allow it. I laughed soft. Bitter so that was my role. A placeholder. A convenient piece in a performance. The next day, I went to work as usual. Back-to-back surgeries. No time to think. One of them was a high-risk brain procedure. One mistake meant death. Standing under the surgical lights, everything else disappeared. I wasn't a wife. I was a doctor. 5 hours later, it was over. Successful. The family nearly collapsed in relief when they saw me. I told them it was my job. But when I stepped into the hallway, I saw him, Daniel, leaning against the wall. For a second, something in me shifted. I thought he came for me. Then he spoke. Why are you making things difficult for Lily? I froze. Then I laughed cold this time. I fought to save a life and all he cared about was her comfort. If you're unhappy, I said evenly, you can replace me. He stared at me, caught off guard. But I was done explaining. There was no point. Later, in the corridor, he stood in front of everyone protecting her. Colleagues joked. Said they looked perfect together. Like a family. He didn't deny it. Not even for a second. I stood at the edge of the crowd, watching, and felt nothing. No anger. No pain. Just acceptance. I had never been his choice. This marriage had always been mine alone. A week later, my transfer was approved. I booked my flight, closed my last suitcase. Everything about this city stayed behind me. My phone buzzed. His name on the screen. I didn't answer. It rang. Stopped. Like a delayed attempt at holding on. Too late. As the plane took off, the city shrank beneath the clouds. For the first time in 6 years, I felt light. It was over. And this time I wasn't looking back.